Nomagnaantimirandasya gnanaanjanashalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Oh, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, 4.8. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So Krishna is indicating the reason he incarnates. Actually, the word incarnate is it doesn't rightly indicate the meaning of avatar. Avatar means one who descends. But in English, generally, word incarnate is used, but actually it should say descend. So yeah, avatara means descends. So where does the Lord descend? He descends to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to establish the principles of religion, dharma samsthapanarthaya. And Krishna is saying that he appears millennium after millennium. Purport. According to Bhagavad Gita, a sadhu is a man in Krishna consciousness. This is very important. A lot of people pose themselves as sadhus, but who is the real sadhu is one who is in Krishna consciousness. That means that he is aware about who Supreme Lord is, who he himself is, what is the relationship between Jiva and Krishna, and who lives as per that sambandha, as per that relation. A person may appear to be religious, but if he has the qualifications of Krishna consciousness wholly and fully, he is to be understood to be a sadhu. So this is very, very important. This is very difficult to understand, actually. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharma is actually defined by the Lord. So only Lord and his devotees, Mahajanayana gatasya panta, only Lord and his devotees actually understand what real religion is. So person who is actually Krishna conscious might appear to be religious. For example, I mean, people even look at Krishna and say that he was immoral. So people might look at the devotee might be engaged in some work for Krishna, but without actually understanding the underlying principle, one may look at a devotee and think that he's not living as per dharma. Example, for example, doing this Shraddha Kriya. While it is absolute must for a person who is not a devotee of Krishna to do it, a devotee of Krishna doesn't have to do it. So if a devotee of Krishna is not doing Shraddha Kriya as per Karma Kanda, somebody might look at him and say, hey, he's irreligious, he's not following dharma. But the real qualification is that if one is Krishna conscious, wholly and fully, then he is a sadhu, he is following dharma. And dushkrutam applies to those who do not care for Krishna consciousness. So this is very important. People, they are not Krishna conscious. They are completely engaged in sense gratification, but they think they are sadhus, or they at least think they are sattvic people, nice people. But actually they are dushkrutis, because they do not care for Krishna consciousness. Such miscreants or dushkrutam are described as foolish and the lowest of mankind. Muda and Naradama. Muda is foolish and Naradama is lowest of mankind. Even though they may be decorated with mundane education, somebody might be a PhD, double PhD, MBA, etc., etc., etc. But if he does not care for Krishna consciousness, then he's foolish and he's the lowest of mankind. Mm. Uh, Whereas a person who is 100% engaged in Krishna consciousness is accepted as a sadhu, even though such a person may be neither learned nor well cultured. Of course, the culture bit, over a period of time, one becomes cultured as one practices Krishna consciousness, because the process of chanting itself is Chetodarpanamadhyam. It changes our heart. In the association of right kind of devotees who understand culture, etc., one can also become cultured. But initially, that's not a very big criteria. And of course, one doesn't have to be learned at all. He might be an illiterate. It doesn't matter. Um, um, so somebody might say, okay, this person doesn't even know how to read and write. How can I respect him, or how can he become a devotee? So there's no such consideration. Or not that because somebody is very well educated materially, that he's a great person. No, he's considered a dushkruti, because he mostly more education, material education we have, the more we are stuck in Maya, the more we are away from Krishna. Actually, Bhagavata says Krishna is very easily available to akinchana gochara, one who is like materially and who has nothing. Very easy for him to achieve Krishna, because more money, more false ego, more pride, more education means people think they know everything. You try to go and tell them anything, they'll say, I know everything. So very difficult to preach to such people also. But a simple person who is maybe even illiterate, and so many times we experience this, if somebody is doing book distribution in villages, you see how people, how nicely they welcome, they respect you, they call you Swami, come and sit, and because that culture is still there. They might not be educated materially. Material education has killed all this culture. Nowadays, people materially educated, they say, beware of dogs. They don't want any sadhus to come into their house. So they say, beware of dogs. So that, they hope that nobody disturbs them. As far as the atheistic are concerned, it is not necessary for the Supreme Lord to appear as he is to destroy them, as he did with the demons Ravana and Kamsa. So these were special demons. Lord himself killed them. Otherwise, really, uh, for the Vinashaya Duskrutam, for destroying them, annihilants, miscreants, Krishna doesn't have to come. Or Krishna's representative don't have to come. I mean, simple, his external energy, material energy is enough. Durga Devi is enough to kill all kind of miscreants. But special reasons he comes. The Lord has many agents who are quite competent to vanquish demons, like Durga Devi. But the Lord especially descends to appease his unalloyed devotees, who are always harassed by the demoniac. So the Lord descends when these demons come and create a botheration for devotees. Then the Lord's special consideration is actually to appease his unalloyed devotees. Unalloyed is pure. Pure devotees. The Lord comes, and as a side effect, those demons have to be killed because they are being a pain to the devotees. So the Lord descends really not uh, for annihilating the miscreants, mostly for taking care of his devotees. The demon harasses the devotee even though the latter may happen to be his kin. Although Prahlad Maharaj was the son of Hiranyakashipu, he was nonetheless persecuted by his father. Although Devaki, the mother of Krishna, was the sister of Kamsa, she and her husband Vasudeva were persecuted only because Krishna was to be born of them. So we know about this. I mean, even today we know so many devotees are struggling with, no support from either parents, spouse, they're struggling. Literally, I mean, we're seeing these kind of cases day in and day out. It's so unfortunate that people don't understand that Krishna consciousness is the most important thing, most valuable thing in life, and they prevent their, mm, loved ones from engaging in Krishna consciousness. Because the whole world is behind money and name and fame, and all these kind of temporary temporary things, because they don't understand that they are actually soul, and the relationship between the soul and the super soul is that soul is the servant and that he has to serve. They don't understand all this. So Lord Krishna appeared primarily to deliver Devaki rather than kill Kamsa, but both were performed simultaneously. Of course, Lord can perform multiple things at the same time. Hmm. That is his greatness. Like in this Govardhan Leela last week was Govardhan Puja. So many things Krishna accomplishes by just one Leela. Therefore, it is said here that to deliver the devotee and vanquish the demon miscreants, the Lord appears in different incarnations. So sometimes he himself comes, sometimes he sends empowered representatives, etc. etc. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita of Krishnadas Kaviraj, the following verses summarize these principles of incarnation. Sisti hetu ei murti prapanche avatare se Ishvara murti avatara namadhare. So it is avatara namadhare. It's called avatara. Mayatita paravyome sabaravasthana vishve avatari dhare avatara nama. The avatara or incarnation of God, it descends from the kingdom of God for material manifestation. And the particular form of the personality of God who so descends is called an incarnation or avatara. Such incarnations are situated in the spiritual world. See, this is so nice. So all the different forms that appear in this material world as avatara, they are actually situated in the spiritual world. That means that they are present in Vaikuntha Loka. And when they descend to material creation, they assume the name avatara. So for example, if you say Matsya avatara, Matsya, Lord in the form of Matsya, is there in Vaikuntha. So when he appears here, he is called Matsya Avatara. So they assume the name Avatara. So it means that all of these, and why do the Lord why does the Lord have so many forms? To please his devotees. His devotees want to see the Lord in different forms. The Lord is very happy to take those forms for the pleasure of the devotees. There are various kinds of avatars such as Purusha Avatara, Guna Avatara, Leela Avatara, Shaktavesha Avatara, Manvantara Avatara, Yuga Avatara. So briefly, I'll tell what these are. Purusha Avatara is basically avatara that Krishna takes for material creation. Karanodakashai Vishnu, Garbhodakashai Vishnu, Kshirodakashai Vishnu, Vishnu Avataras. Guna Avatara is Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Brahma is mode of passion, Vishnu is mode of goodness, and Shiva is mode of ignorance. Leela Avatara. So many Leela Krishna does, like Rama, Narsimha, Leela Avataras. When there are Shaktavesha, Shaktavesha is when the Lord empowers somebody, like Narada is empowered, Vyasadeva is empowered, Prithu Maharaj is empowered. There's Shaktavesha Avataras. Manvantara. In the day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. And with every Manu, the appearance of every Manu, there is also a form of Vishnu who appears to make sure that the material creation moves in the direction that is required. So there is another avatara that is called Manvantara Avatara and Yuga Avatara. In every Yuga, Lord appears. So actually, it is said that it is infinite. It is like water flowing, the avatars. All these avatars appear on schedule. There is a fixed schedule all over the universe, and not just on our universe, but in all the other universes as well. The Lord appears. But Lord Krishna is the primeval Lord, the fountainhead of all avatars. Fountainhead means all the avatars come from Krishna. That is why when Krishna descends himself, all the avatars are present in him. And Bhagavatam also says that the killing business of all the demons is done by the Vishnu, who is in Krishna, who is present in the body of Krishna. Lord Shri Krishna descends for the specific purpose for mitigating the anxieties of the pure devotees, who are very anxious to see him in his original Vrindavan pastimes. So what is the anxiety? Anxiety is not that the demons are troubling them. Anxiety is that they want to see him in his original form, Shama Sundara Krishna. That is his specific purpose. And of course, dharma samsthapanarthaya, that is that job, that work is there, that also gets done. But his main purpose that Krishna appears is to reduce the anxiety. What is the anxiety? Devotees want to see Krishna. They want to see Krishna in his original form. Therefore, the prime purpose of Krishna Avatara is to satisfy his unalloyed devotees, especially of Krishna himself coming down. Lord says that he incarnates himself in every millennium. This indicates that he incarnates also in the age of Kali. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the incarnation in the age of Kali is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who spread the worship of Krishna by the Sankirtana movement and spread Krishna consciousness throughout India. He predicted that this culture of Sankirtana could be broadcast all over the world from town to town and village to village. Lord Chaitanya is the incarnation of Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Is described secretly, but not directly in the confidential parts of revealed scriptures. So he's called Channa Avatara. Channa means secret. So he is not openly, directly, he is not revealed. The devotees of Lord Krishna are very much attracted by the Sankirtana movement of Lord Chaitanya. So many devotees have become devotees just because of Sankirtan. And of course, many other devotees have become devotees because of Prasadam. There are very few people who actually become devotees because of the knowledge of Krishna consciousness, which they possess subsequently, but those devotees are very less. Mostly it is Sankirtan, Prasadam. This avatar of the Lord does not kill the miscreants, but delivers them by his causeless mercy. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there's no the Paritrana Sadham Vinashaya Cha Dushkrutam, the Vinasha, the destruction is not by killing them, but like in the previous yugas, like in the other yugas. It is by giving people the causeless mercy of chanting the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And so we can see that the Lord is so merciful that to maintain this material universe, he is willing to appear every millennium. So many incarnations, like rivulets flowing into the river. Lord is appearing just because we foolish souls wanted to enjoy independent of him. So he had to create this material world, and to maintain this material world, so much of energy. And we still don't learn, unfortunately. Even after Shastra says, we should hear and learn. That is top class intelligence. We should not become a reason for the Lord to appear. We should not put the Lord to work. We should become servants of Krishna, and we should serve him. Lord coming as Avatara is in some way serving all the souls in this material world. His only desire is to take all of them back. But unfortunately, the foolish jivas, they don't want to go back, and they trouble the Lord. Hare Krishna. Okay. 4.9. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah tektva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. O Arjuna. The Lord's descent from his transcendental abode is already explained in the 6th verse. One who can understand the truth of the appearance of the personality of Godhead is already liberated from material bondage. So if we can understand the Lord's appearance, so 6th verse is actually saying, Sambhavami Atmamaya. 6th verse is saying how he appears. Sambhavami Atmamaya. By my own internal potency I appear. So if one can understand the truth of the appearance, what is the truth of the appearance? That he is not born like us, like conditioned souls. He simply It is called prakata aprakata. He is just he's manifest and sometimes he's non-manifest. When he's manifest, we say that he's appeared. Manifest means he just becomes visible to the eyes of general people. That is it. So if we just understand this truth, we are liberated from material bondage. So simple. We are liberated. And people want liberation, just understand this truth about Krishna. And therefore, he returns to the kingdom of God immediately after quitting this present material body. Because as soon as we know that, oh, Krishna, this is Krishna. And what is Krishna's position? Oh, he is the Supreme Lord. Oh, then what is my position? I am a servant. Okay. So then my eternal role is to serve him. Okay. I will serve him. So just knowing the knowledge but not acting according to it doesn't mean that one has knowledge. One has knowledge if he has the knowledge and he acts on that. The one who knows, one who understands the truth of appearance of the Lord also acts on that basis. And such a person, he returns to the kingdom of God immediately after quitting this present material body. See, that is why one who is in Krishna consciousness, who is surrendered, who is mercifully been accepted into the parampara, there is no way that he can take birth again unless he falls from his position in the course, during the course of his lifetime. Right? But otherwise, like Prabhupada said, if you just follow 4 regulatory principles, chant the Hare Krishna mantra every day, understand Krishna's position, then we are done. We'll go back to into the spiritual world. We're not going to come back here. So it's so easy. Right? But Prabhupada is saying such liberation of the living entity from material bondage is not at all easy. Because people don't want to come to this. People don't want this. Like always there's discussion among devotees saying that why people don't come to certain, classes are being conducted, why people don't come, so much of preaching effort is happening, but people come for some time and then they are gone. Why? Because they have other interests. They don't want this liberation. They don't want to understand Krishna's position. So unfortunate, but we have to keep trying. That is our work as preachers. So it's not easy, though it is very easy, right? It's just a matter of understanding Krishna's position and accepting it and living life based on that. It's so simple. It's easy yet not easy. The personalists and the yogis attain liberation only after much trouble and many, many births. Krishna himself says subsequently in Bhagavad Gita, it's very difficult for them. And even after all the difficulty, Prabhupada is saying, the liberation they achieve, merging into the impersonal Brahmajyoti of the Lord, is only partial. And there's a risk of returning to this material world, because Bhagavatam says that because there's no activity in the Brahmajyoti, those jivas will fall back into this material world because they want action. They want karma. But the devotee, simply by understanding the transcendental nature, simply by understanding transcendental nature of the body. Body means, but people say, oh, Krishna took birth, Krishna died. No, Krishna's body is transcendental. So there's no question of birth and death. There is no difference between Krishna's body and Krishna's soul. There's no difference between Krishna and Krishna's activities. One who understands this. Why there's no difference? There's no difference between means everything is spiritual. Nothing belongs to this material world. Nothing of Krishna belongs to this material world. So that person attains the abode of the Lord after ending this body and does not run the risk of returning to this material world. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Lord has many, many forms and incarnations. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Ananta Rupam. Although there are many transcendental forms of the Lord, they are still one and the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. This also we have to understand. It is one Supreme Lord. He assumes or he takes different forms at different times for different reasons and displays different aspects of his potencies, different amounts of his potencies. But one has to understand this fact with conviction. So, when we talk about Krishna and Vishnu, we are not competing. There is nothing like, oh, Krishna is supreme, Vishnu is supreme. Yes, Shastra Brahma Samhita says Ishvara Parama Krishna. But actually, there's no difference between Krishna and Vishnu. But still, Krishna is the source. And Krishna and Vishnu are not different. Why Krishna is called the source? Because Krishna has more qualities than Vishnu. Krishna has 4 qualities which Vishnu doesn't have. So he is considered as the fountainhead. But which means that Krishna in his Vishnu form, he doesn't display those 4 qualities. That's all. But he's the same person. They are not 2 different people. One has to understand this fact with conviction, although it is incomprehensible to mundane scholars and empiric philosophers. Like logically, we cannot understand this. How one person can be different like this? It's very simple. Like for example, if there's a prime minister is prime minister in office, but at home he is whatever, father or grandfather or whatever, right? The same person, but he behaves differently at office, differently at home. It's as simple as that. But people can't understand because brains are dull. As stated in the Vedas, Purusha Bodhini Upanishad, Eko Devo Nitya Leelanukrakto Bhakta Vyapi Hridyantaratma. The one Supreme Person of Godhead is eternally engaged in many, many transcendental forms in relationship with his unalloyed devotees. So the reason he has many, many forms is because it is in relationship with his pure devotees. Like I said, pure devotees want that form, and so the Lord assumes that form. The Vedic version is confirmed in this verse of the Gita personally by the Lord. He who accepts this truth on the strength of the authority of the Vedas and of the Supreme Person of Godhead, and who does not waste time in philosophical speculations, attains the highest perfectional stage of liberation. So it's so easy. Simply accept. Why accept? Because it is come in parampara, not because somebody is saying. It's so simple. If something comes in authentic parampara, then we accept it, then our life becomes perfect. Simply by accepting this truth on faith, by faith, because it is come in parampara. One can without a doubt attain liberation. The Vedic version Tattvamasi is actually applied in this case. Anyone who understands Lord Krishna to be supreme, or who says unto the Lord, you are the supreme, same supreme Brahman, the personality of Godhead, is certainly liberated instantly. If anybody wants to get liberated instantly, we can simply chant this line. You are the same supreme Brahman, Krishna. You are the personality of Godhead. That's it, liberated. And consequently, his entrance into the transcendental association of the Lord is guaranteed. In other words, such a faithful devotee of the Lord attains perfection. And this is confirmed by the following Vedic assertion. Tameva viditvati mrityummeti nanya pantha vidyate yanaya. One can attain the perfect stage of liberation from birth and death simply by knowing the Lord, the Supreme Person of Godhead. And there is no other way to achieve this perfection, Shvetashvatara Upanishad, simply by knowing the Lord. Evam yo veti tattvataha. That there is no alternative means that anyone who does not understand Lord Krishna as the Supreme Person of Godhead is surely in the mode of ignorance, and consequently he will not attain salvation. Simply so to speak, by licking the outer surface of the bottle of honey, or by interpreting the Bhagavad Gita according to mundane scholarship. Such empiric philosophers may assume very important roles in the material world, but they are not necessarily eligible for liberation. Such puffed up mundane scholars have to wait for the causeless mercy of the devotee of the Lord. So actually it is said Shukadeva Goswami also was initially a monist. He subsequently, because he associated with his father was a devotee, Vedavyas, and so he associated with other devotees, and by their mercy he came to Srimad Bhagavatam, and then he became a devotee. So one should therefore cultivate Krishna consciousness with faith and knowledge, and in this way attain perfection. So it's so simple. Simply read Bhagavad Gita, accept Bhagavad Gita. By the end of Bhagavad Gita, one has to become a surrendered devotee. Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. If we do this much, then our life is perfect. Of course, externally we might be facing a lot of issues, challenges, problems. It might look like we are struggling, with anarthas and this and that and all that. All that is there, but at a 30,000 feet level, we are already liberated. It's just a matter of time. It's only time which is separating us from going back to the spiritual world. And so we should be happy that, actually we've achieved something most people can't even imagine. Most people can't imagine achieving this state. And simply by accepting Bhagavad Gita as it is from Srila Prabhupada, we have actually achieved this state. Of course, and there's a lot more to be said about this Tattvataha. Our previous acharyas, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says Tattvataha means sweetness of the Lord. And the sweetness of the Lord is what is not there in Vishnu. Madhurya. So Rupa Madhurya, Leela Madhurya, Bhakta Madhurya, Venu Madhurya. This Madhurya is not there in Vishnu. So one who knows Krishna's Madhurya, Krishna's sweetness, he will go back to Krishna Loka, Goloka. So simple. And one who is captivated by the Aishwarya of the Lord, he'll go to Vaikuntha. But we should know these things. We should know that, okay, there's Tattva, there is Rasa, there's Aishwarya Bhav in Vaikuntha, there's Madhurya Bhav in Goloka. And accordingly, then we achieve perfection. It's so simple. It's so simple. And we should not complicate it. We should simply follow what our acharyas have given and we will achieve perfection. We don't have to speculate or create something of our own. So simple. See, this is the heart of the whole teaching of Bhagavad Gita, right? Like just by knowing the transcendent nature of Krishna, we won't come back to this miserable material world. Okay. Let's stop here unless somebody has any questions. You can please ask.
Yeah, bro, I have a question.
Yeah.
So what is the meaning of knowing? So knowing is it knowing the philosophy without convinced or realizing the fact? Because that is also little tricky, right? Because we cannot, probably in this life, we cannot ever comprehend how Lord exists in innumerable forms. We know as a fact by believing the words of acharyas with faith. But so is it like okay to just know this without getting the full understanding of how Lord performs these actions and still attain liberation, or there is a different level which we have to reach in our understanding?
So, okay. So first question is, why do you think, okay. So just for everybody's benefit. So there are two parts in this, the two aspects in this question. One is Gnana and the other is Vijnana. Okay. One is knowledge. The other is realization. Basically, that's what Prabhu is asking, saying that is knowledge enough or is realization important? And he said that, yeah, Prabhu, you are saying you don't think you will achieve it in this life. Why? Why you don't think you'll achieve in this life?
Knowledge definitely we can, but realization is about convinced about Lord's position, right? So because Lord's position is not so easy to understand, that how Lord performs these actions.
No. So we should correct this understanding. See, Gnana requires conviction. Vijnana is about realization. Vijnana is it's like, for example, Gnana that, okay, I have to follow traffic rules. Green means go, red means red. There is full conviction that these rules have to be followed, etc., etc. This is Gnana, right? Vijnana means actually putting it into practice. So the whole process of devotion, see, that is why bhakti is not based on gnana. Gnana is a concomitant factor. It is like it's also there in bhakti. The process of bhakti is to give us realization. So we should not we should not feel that I'm not going to realize. Why? I mean, we are doing bhakti to realize only. Otherwise, gnana is, so this is the whole point, right? The point is that once you have gnana, the gnana that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, that Krishna's appearance is transcendental, that he he stays elsewhere, but he appears here for certain reasons, is knowledge. And there has to be full conviction here. There is no, it's not like, okay, maybe, maybe not, no, we have full confidence. We have full faith that yes, Krishna is present in the spiritual world. He comes here occasionally, right?
Yeah.
This full conviction is knowledge. That's it. Now, this conviction has to be realized. The process of realizing this conviction is bhakti. Is when we engage in activities of bhakti, when we reach higher stages of bhakti, we actually realize this, which means that we experience the fact that Krishna is in the spiritual world. He reveals himself to us. He reveals, you should read about Narada Muni's life from Bhagavatam first canto.
Yeah.
Narada Muni clearly says that he actually, experienced the realization. He had the realization. Scientific knowledge, actually the words used are scientific knowledge about the Lord he realizes, which means that Vijnana. So he actually experiences presence of the Lord. And by that experiencing the presence of the Lord, he understands that the Lord doesn't belong to this material world. He belongs to the spiritual world and he's come here, and that he's part and parcel of Krishna. All this knowledge becomes realized at once, at an instant. Right? But for us to reach that instant, we have to do sadhana bhakti. If we stick to sadhana bhakti, then as we move forward, we will come to raganuga bhakti, and then we will come to bhava. And by the time we come to bhava, we will realize this. And when we come to prema, it will become like a super pakka established fact. So this whole process of bhakti is actually to give us that realization. And see, one should not have any kind of diffidence in this. No lack of faith, 100% faith, because acharyas have given this process. In fact, Srila Prabhupada has guaranteed, he said that I will give you backdoor entrance to Goloka. All you have to do is follow 4 regulative principles, chant 16 rounds, and have prasadam, associate with devotees, be a Krishna conscious person throughout your life. You will achieve perfection.
Yeah.
Right? But of course, this has a lot of things built into it, right? When one calls himself as a devotee, then there's no question of sense gratification. That means that after a certain point of time, if you are actually seriously engaging in bhajana, then your attraction to material things will automatically reduce.
Yeah.
Right? Then you will increase, your attraction to Krishna will increase. When this happens, what is the doubt that we are going to go back to Krishna, or will not? Why even that thought that we will not achieve perfection? We will achieve perfection.
Yeah. No, I
So
was
this tattvataha starts there. So the point I'm making is that tattvataha, the knowledge, the firm faith that, oh, okay, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, Krishna descends. So what should I do to achieve him? Oh, I should engage in bhakti. Okay. What have Acharya said? Okay, Acharyas have said this. Okay, I will strictly follow this. That's it. So the tattvataha doesn't end simply. That is why I said knowledge about traffic rules will not prevent us from getting fined. Application of the traffic rules is required. So once we have this knowledge that there is that Supreme Lord's transcendental nature, application has to happen, which means that is Sambandhagnan, which means that I am servant of Krishna. So which means that we have to engage in sadhana bhakti. If we do this, we achieve perfection.
Yeah. But so my question was, Pro, that see, so like when we are applying the knowledge of traffic rules, we start getting the benefit, right? But here, we might start applying the process of bhakti, but whether we achieve perfection in this life, or see, every devotee might have its own pace, right? So some devotees might get perfection in one lifetime, some people might get in multiple lifetimes. So is that going to be tested unless you fully realize that, okay, yeah, Lord exists in this form?
No, realization is the ultimate. Realization is not something that we gain, Prabhu. So we should understand realization is something which is gifted to us by the Supreme Lord. When we reach that perfect stage.
Yeah.
Okay, so realization is not in our hands. That is why we do this, Damodar Leela, right? One finger is our effort. We have to just focus on our effort. Bhakti cannot be achieved by force, or it's not like some rule that, okay, I do this, Krishna gives me this, right? It is completely Krishna's causeless mercy. So that realization of our Lord's position is different forms, how this creation happens, etc., etc., all that will happen at the stage of perfection, right? But that is just a moment. That realization is it just hardly takes a moment when we reach the time
Yeah.
when the thing happens. So the important question to ask is saying that, am I following the right process which will enable me to achieve that?
Hmm.
And this question about one lifetime or multiple lifetimes is purely dependent on the desire of the jiva. There is no rule. There is no rule. Okay, that is why our acharyas say laulam ekam maulyam. Laulyam. The more greed you have, absolutely one can achieve it in this life.
Hmm.
But most, I mean, this is something, this is again, lack of clear understanding. Most devotees think that nothing is in their hands. They, in some sense, devotees sometimes are very happy thinking this way, saying,
Yeah.
oh, nothing in my hands, it's all Krishna's mercy. Yes, but Krishna is saying desire.
Yeah.
Yeah, Krishna is saying desire, but I still have material desires. Okay, see, that's the problem. So, if we have pure desires, there is no doubt that we'll achieve perfection in one life. Absolutely no doubt. And it's very clear. I mean, Shastra, nowhere in the Shastra anybody is saying that, okay, if you're like this, it's going to take multiple lifetimes. Of course, if you are not, if one is having material desires, then it will take multiple lifetimes. Or, one might even go to Swargaloka. Like Prabhupada said, most people in ISKCON will go to Swargaloka because people will do with Sakama. If you do with Sakama, then you become a demigod,
Yeah.
right? But pure devotional service will give perfection in one life. No doubt. Prabhupada said, just follow this, you will go back, you will come back.
Yeah. Now
So
it's
please have confidence. Please have confidence. I mean, the process is so powerful, right? That there is no way we cannot achieve perfection. It will be only be our foolishness if we do something funny and not stick to the process, that we will fail to achieve the goal. It's as simple as that.
yeah. Uh,
Important question. Thank you for asking that. Yeah.
so, yeah, I think I have faith on process, but don't have faith on myself. So, yeah,
Okay.
sometimes it.
Very important. Very important. Very important point. That means that you think that you are more powerful than the process.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just being very blatant here because you see, let's not think that we are over and above, more superior than a process laid down by our acharyas. Right? The process has been given for fallen souls like us. Right? We don't have to specially qualify as saying that, I am more disqualified, like Jaga and Madai and Goswamis came and told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that, you deliver us, there is no one worse than us in this creation. We don't have to think we are so special that we can supersede the process, right?
Yeah.
Actually, once we stop thinking, saying that, I am more superior than the process, we'll achieve perfection. It's as simple as that,
Yeah. Yeah. True. Bro. True.
right?
One more question I had.
Mhm.
It is mentioned that Lord exists in innumerable forms because of relationship with the devotees, right?
Yes, yes.
So I had one question. So, for example, taking the case of Prahlad Maharaj,
Hmm.
so Lord took incarnation of half lion and half male because Hiranyakashipu had this boon, right? So it happened before even Prahlad Maharaja was born, and hence Lord took that form. So is it like so? Is the understanding that Lord was having an eternal relationship with Prahlad Maharaj even before Prahlad Maharaj manifested in this material world, and that got established when Lord appeared to save him out of the
Yeah,
thumb.
when we read Bhagavatam, these are eternal forms of the Lord. Prahlad Maharaj is eternal associate of Nrsimhadev. So these are all eternal relations which are eternally present in the eternal Vaikuntha world. So whenever the time comes, they just appear so that these pastimes can be, known by conditioned devotees like conditioned people like us, so that we become attracted. But these eternal relations, eternally they are present.
Hmm.
In fact, Bhagavatam says that Lakshmi Devi had not seen such a form of the Lord. Yeah,
Hmm.
that is in the from the perspective of the pastime. But Narasimha Dev is eternally present. He has his own Vaikuntha world where Lakshmi Devi is present with him. So there's no question of Lakshmi Devi not knowing that her husband has this form. But in the context of the Leela, from a Bhauma perspective, Lakshmi Devi had not seen something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these are all eternal.
So
Yeah.
Prahlad Maharaj definitely had this relationship,
Yeah.
and it got established in.
No, not established. No question of established. It
Yeah,
is displayed
displayed.
for
Yeah,
us. It just got displayed. Yeah.
yeah, it got displayed in a story form, but ultimately, this form which Prahlad Maharaj always worshipped.
Yes.
Yeah,
Worships.
yeah, worships. Yeah, even continuous. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Actually, this fourth chapter is so beautiful. I mean, I just love these verses. It's so nice and deep. Prabhupada's purports are so beautiful. Try to spend time reading these verses again yourself, all of you. It's very nice. Okay, there are no other questions, then we will stop here. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha samaveta gaura bhaktivinoda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavata Pranam.
Dandavata.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.